In this video, we're going to discuss size in HTML, and we're going to talk a bit about how percentage unit works. So before we get onto percentage units, let's look at our page, and we can see that there's this really cute image of this puppy I found online, but the width is perhaps a little large. This is just as the image has come. This is the full size of the image. And let's say we want to make it a defined size. So let's create a new CSS block for image, and let's change the width to say 200 pixels. And let's refresh, and we'll notice that the width has we've set the width to 200 pixels, and the height has automatically adjusted, so the ratio of the image is kept the same. Likewise, we can use height like this, and it automatically adjusts the width for us. We can change both if we want. So we have height 200 pixels, let's say width 150 pixels. However, we may run the risk of doing something like this where we squish the image because we've defined both of them. But still, it's important to know that we can do that if we want. Let's delete the width there. So let's write some CSS for UL. Let's give it a background of pink so we can see the element. Here we are, and we can see that spans the entire size of the page. And let's give it a width of 50%. And this is 50% of the element above it. So the element above the UL is actually the body, which is the whole page. So that is effectively 50% of our page. But if we take the LIs and let's give them a background of, let's say, pale golden rod. That was a fairly random one, but I like it. There's our pale golden rod LIs there, and the reason that it's pink here is because there is a little bit of padding to the left of the list, and we'll find out about that in literally just a moment in the next video. But these are by default 100% the width of the parent. So now let's try changing the width of these to 50% and see what happens. So there we go. So the UL is 50% and the LI is 50%, but the LI is 50% of the parent. So it's effectively 25%, or it's easier to think about it as 50% of the parent element, which in this case, the parent of the LIs is the UL, like so. Let's talk about one other unit. And to do this, we'll use the paragraphs. So let's give these a background of tomato and refresh our page. So we see there's two paragraph tags. They're 100% in width. And we've learned about using pixels, and we've learned about using percentages. There are some others, we can use centimeters or inches. There are a couple of others we won't talk about today. But now we're going to learn a bit about VH and VW. And this stands for viewport height and viewport width. So if we make the width of this 75 VW and refresh, this may look like 75%, and that's true. It's 75% of the page, but more importantly, it's 75 viewport widths. Now, if you think about this entire page as a viewport and it's split up into 100 equal pieces of width, this is 75% of them, irrespective of the size of the parent. So if we look at these LIs, for example, let's say that the LIs are now 50 viewport width, and let's refresh it. Now you'll notice that it's gone 50% of the width of the page. So it doesn't care about the width of the parent. It cares about the width of the viewport. And VH works very similarly. So if we take the image and let's change the height to if we make it 100 viewport height VH and refresh, that is exactly the same height as our pages. Or perhaps if we make it 200 viewport height, it's now double the size, so that will be exactly half the height of the image, and there's the other height of the image. Or maybe we do something more sensible and we say 50 viewport height, and now it's exactly half the height. In fact, if we change the height of our page, we'll notice that that image is scaling down as well.